Yeah, greetings to you all. This is Colin Chinebwakodia from OBI TTC. Yes, I come your way again. We started something on quantity surveying, that is the introduction to quantity surveying. We looked at a lot of things over there. We are still continuing with the episode. I think this is the next episode from last week's episode, what we did. Yes. For a quick recap on what we did last week, we studied about measurements and also estimation. Yes. And we got to know what measurement is and what estimation is. Where we talked about measurement is the calculation of quantities. But for estimation, we got to know that is a technical prediction of what of material, labor, and what plant and equipment that is needed for a construction project. We looked at some of the purposes of measurement and estimation. We got to know that with measurements, with estimation, some of the purposes help us to plan for projects and also to know the total cost that involves in the projects. Yes. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and for any comment that you have, you can drop it in the comment section. Then like the page, and also I'll be very glad to also get your comments so that I can reply to it as well. Yes, for today's lessons, we are going to still continue with the purpose of estimation. I have written here some couple of points that I'm going to explain on. So if you look at what we have here, we have one of the purposes is to provide the project price for the contract. When we talk about providing a project price for the contract, then we are looking at what the total budget that is required for for the construction project. So based on the measurements and estimation that will be conducted, we'll be able to know that okay, this is the volume of material or the quantity of materials that are needed for the job. And this is the required amount that will be needed to buy those quantity of material, which for the labor to be able to do estimate the total cost of labor that will be needed to complete the project too as well. Then for the plant and equipment that is required for the job, to be able to also know the cost that will be needed to complete the project on point. So when it comes to determination or provide a project price, we're able to know it based on what the material, based on the labor, based on the plan that is needed for the required job. Now we go on looking at for cost comparison of alternative design and what material if at cost planning stage. So for cost comparison, an architect or a draftsmanship will design a building or a building project. Then a quantity surveyor will sit and do the measurement and estimation for the building project. And based on the design recommendation, the finishes, the type of finishes that is required, the size of the building, the height of the building, and all those kind of things, we'll be able to know the design that is recommended for it. Then we'll do the estimation and know that okay, for this design, this is how much it's going to cost us to do. And sometimes the client can come and say, so, okay, what if this is changed here, or we do the design this, that is an alternative design? What will be the outcome of it? What will be the cost of the project? Or what if this material is replaced with this material? What will be the outcome of it or the cost that is involved? So based on the material selection, we'll determine what the cost of of the project that will be needed for the project to be constructed successfully. Now, when we go on looking at the third point, we have it informs the client about the extent of his financial commitment in the proposed project. So after the estimation and the measurements are being done, now that we know the cost of material, we know the cost of labor, we know the cost of plant and equipment that is required, the client now has a forecast or has an insight that okay, with this project, I need to commit myself with this amount of money that is needed to complete the project. So even if the client does not have the whole finance or let's say the whole money in bulk, the client can save towards it or go for a loan or something or for someone to also invest into it and all those kind of things. So at the end, the client will know that he needs to commit this amount of money or he needs to provide this amount of money for the project to be executed successfully. Now we go on to it is used to as a basis of inviting interested tenders or interested contractors. So for an estimate to be done, they'll invite various contractors who are interested in the project to tender for the project. So tendering for the project, they will also prepare their BOQ and send it to the consulting team for them to analyze it and check if they required or they are required for the project or they are qualified for the project. So this will use as the basis to check the contractor's bill of quantity that is submitted. So they will compare the contractor's quantities or the bill of quantities submitted as to what the consultant quantity surveyor prepared, and they'll be able to see the differences and the ranges that is between, then be able to select the correct or the accurate contractor that is qualified for the job. Estimation will be used as the basis. So when they price for this and they price for this, it will give them an idea about how much the entire project will cost. Then based on that, when the contractor also submits, they'll also confirm and check it together with what the consultant quantity surveyor has prepared. Then they will be able to come out well and select the contractor that is required or which is qualified for the job. It is also used as the basis for tender analysis and contractor selection. After the contractor has submitted his bill of quantity, yes, they have to hold on a tender valuation meeting where they will call the contractors to come and they will interview them based on the bill of quantity that they've submitted, for them to give a brief or a detailed explanation why they got this and how they got this and what are their intention of doing the project, and be able to do the project to the satisfaction of the client. So based on the estimation that is provided or the measurement and estimation that is done by the consultancy quantity surveyor, they will use that as the basis. Then they'll compare it to the contractor's quantity surveyor's bill of quantity prepared, which will be used for the tender valuation. So during the tender valuation, they'll be able to do all those analysis and they'll be able to select the qualified contractor that is required for the job. That is based on the estimation that is done. Then now we go on. It is used to estimate the probable time for the execution of the project or the work item. Before a project to be completed, there's a start and a finish time. So based on the capacity of the project, or let's say the extent or the size of the project, will determine how long or the duration or the period that is needed. So based on this measurement and estimation, they'll be able to provide a method statement, that is the processes that they are going to do in order to execute the job. And the method statement will determine the period of time they'll be able to use to complete one work section or one trade work section. So based on the method statement, then they will derive the program of works out of it. So at the end of it, the program of works will determine the duration of the project, how long the project will take, whether it's 3 months, it's 4 months, it's a year or 2 years, how long it will take. And based on that, the clients can also prepare a financial statement on that and how to supply the funds for the project to be executed and also to be finished on time as planned by the consultancy team, and also as the client also wants. Now, so these are some of the points that we are looking at under measurement and estimation are the purpose. So sometimes you sit there and you ask yourself also, how do I get to know how much this project will cost me? So how do I get to know that I need this and need that in the project? Or is based on measurement and estimation. Based on that, you'll be able to know the quantity or the technical prediction of the quantity of materials, plants, equipment, labor, and all those things that is needed to complete the job. So when we look at this point, you'll be able to know that, okay, with this point that is listed out, or with this point that I've explained over here, it will help you, give you the insight for you to know the purpose of measurement and estimation. I'll go on and also explain something on the method or the processes of measurement and estimation. We don't just get up and just start to estimate for a project, or we measure for a project. We have stages that involves in measurement or estimation of a project. So we have to look at some of the stages that involve. The first stage is is under the taking off or the measurements. So we say a taking off. A taking off means that we need to pick dimensions from working drawings, or we have to pick dimensions from specification given by the client or the client consultant. So when you pick this dimension for the drawing, you pick the dimension and get the actual quantities or the actual measurement that you need for the particular job they are going to execute. Then we go on to do the abstracting. For the abstracting, it depends on the trade work that is going to be executed. So we have trade work like masonry, carpentry, maybe ironmongeries. We have tiling works and all those things. So we pick the abstract from the taking off. That is the accumulated quantity that is taken from the drawing or from the specification that is given. we have to abstract that quantities and hold them into a whole sum, like a whole number, so that we know that, okay, for instance, let's say the block work in foundation is going to be 65.35 meter square. Now, from the taking of, this is the area that was what gotten out from the taking of. So from the abstracting, it will be abstracted as a whole number, making it like 66 square meter area before it will be taken into the bill of quantities. So the abstracting will group what the measurement in terms of trade work, masonry, carpentry, painting, tiling, and all those things. We'll group them. So when we pick them, we pick them and insert them directly in the bill of quantity, the bill. Then we have the third stage, which is the billing. The billing is where we do the actual bill of quantity, which comes with what the description of the work item, the quantity, the unit, the rate, and the amount. So on the billing sheet, you have to describe the work item. So for instance, I'm going to lay blocks. So I will state that, okay, a concrete block, 6 inches. Then I can state the size in it, maybe 150 by 225 by 450 mm in terms of the size. Will be laid in what? In stretcher bond or in Flemish bond, what? And jointed, embedded with what? Cement sand mortar of maybe a ratio of 1:3. So this description gives an insight of it that, okay, this is the volume or the quantum of work that will be done during the block work. So when you are doing the pricing or doing the rate analysis, you know that you have to factor the mortar that will be used for bedding and jointing. You have to factor the cost of the blocks too as well, overheads, the transportation, and any other things that is needed to be factored in it. Then you find the unit rate. Then now you can insert it in what? In your rate item to get the amount that is required for. So that is how the billing are being done. These sections are sections that are very important in the stage of what? Of measurement and estimation. So I would like you viewers to always pay attention to this, play this video over and over again and revise it, that anytime you have any work doing, you know that with the process of what? Measurement and estimation, you have to go through these 3 stages, which is the taking off, that is the measurement, which is the abstracting, that is taking what? The actual measurement from what? The taking off that you've done based on what? The work trade section, and also taking the abstracting figures or the quantities to the bill of quantities to also give a brief description or detailed description of the work item to be done, and also do the rate analysis. So I would like you to continue to be watching my videos and learn more from it. I'm hoping to hear from you, get your comments, your subscription, and your likeness to my video. I thank you all. Have a nice day. Bye.